Hey up, it's Ward here again. Before I start today's video, I want to just quick thank you to people who've been watching and subscribing. One of my first videos is about to hit 200 views, not far off. The part 2 is about to hit 100. I wasn't expecting these to do so well, and I genuinely appreciate this. Our intention is to complete this series off and do more episodes outside of the series, so thank you everyone who's been watching. So let's begin. Part 3. The Mist and the Creatures that lie within. Dundee has fell. The siege broke through the city wall, and the king was slain. Our party managed to escape only by a fraction of a hair width, and was not in a good place. It was all battered and bruised at the bottom of the hill that Dundee is built on. They found their friend Pennell, battered and bruised, floating head up inside the River Tay. They dragged his body across the shore, where they bumped into an old hermit named Rutherford. The party held their suspicion towards this man, as he was very knowledgeable of who they were, and he seems to be in a good shape and unaffected by the siege which was going around them. But they went to roll insights and passed. The guy was genuinely being nice. He was just a wandering hermit who has heard of the prophecies. So they kept him along their side. Both parties agreed that they had to get out of here. They knew there was a town slightly up the river where they could get on a barge boat. Hopefully, the town has not been hit yet. And they could get to the east. Then realised west is probably best to go, because east is where Zargax came from. The party did not talk much on the travel. They kept themselves to themselves, same with Ralph. Kieran was quiet, as she knew that she had the artifact which she didn't want anyone getting in his hands. They discussed it the night before, and I thought to mention when Kieran and the party was fighting the Unicorn Rider which killed the Knight of Krail, they picked up his dagger when they killed him. The dagger they found out was to be named the Dagger of Evil. A very ominous name, I know. After looking into the Dagger of Evil and showing it to the king the night before, they learned its history and the cruel fate that the Dagger of Evil had. Long time ago, there was a cleric who travelled the land. He worked by the name of the god Mishakal, and he went out healing everyone and doing the act of God, protecting people, purging the evil, everything he could do to boast the name of Mishakal and raise funds so he could create a temple to Mishakal. He had 2 sets of daggers which he used. These daggers could change you as a person. If he stabbed you with the dagger, your moral compass would swap to the opposite alignment, and you would become good if you was evil. But he only ever used his daggers on evil people, so he only swapped to good. When he passed away, of ripe old age, his tomb was ransacked. These daggers were stolen. A necromancer found them and corrupted the blades. He wanted them and needed them for a ritual to extend into lichhood. The great warriors at the time managed to stop this from happening. Thankfully, the daggers were hidden very well on the ground. Secrets kept only by those who were trusted. So the fact that this dagger got in hand of a minion of Zargafax scared the king. He told the party to keep it safe and keep it secret to themselves, so only that they knew its location. The group had basic conversations what to do with it. They all agreed anonymously to keep it with them. And they tried to make sure that Ralph knew nothing about this, as even though he seemed trustworthy, they did not want him in his hands, or the knowledge in his hands. 20 minutes has passed, and they finally reached a small little fishing hamlet where they knew they could find some sort of barge or boat to get out of here. But the town seemed deserted. This was to be expected. Not to this extent. There was not even any bodies. Just nothing. Like, people just disappeared mid-action. So he went through the town curiously, being cautious at every step, till Penham failed his perception checks and his stealth checks, and disturbed the shadows. A black hand reached out of the shadows, clutching a dagger. It stabbed into Penham's thigh. Penham screeched out in pain and stepped backwards into the less dark shadow, should say. It is night, but some shadows still darker than others. After seeing this happen, Penham could not explain what happened. He did not have the words to explain. So he said it in the most Penham way possible. Something stabbed me from the shadows. Like, the party looked and was a bit confused by this, and tried to get him to explain. Was it a person from the shadows, or was it literally the shadow stabbing? Both was concerning. The latter, though, more concerning. They all grouped up in a circle, as shadows started to stretch towards them. Weird creatures made out of shadow creeped out. Black mist bones carrying black mist daggers and swords, swinging at them. Bows of shadow and darkness fired corrupted arrows at the party. But Kaelin was a smart warlock. She casted multiple levels of light, and any other spell she could find to emit light to eliminate the shadows. Banjovi had some ideas. He started setting fire to things to reduce the shadows. With the shadows temporarily at bay, the party started shouting out to see if they could find anyone hiding and surviving. After a more successful perception investigation checks, they noticed there was people in some of the buildings with every single floor lit up to make sure that there is no shadows at all inside the building. Trying to convince them to leave was a different story. So many people refused to, others happily left. Now that the shadows were slightly at bay, there was people in the distance preparing a boat. The boats, the pier and the shore, was many strategically placed braziers, filled with witch flame, to emit a brighter light than normal. This was an effort to stop any of the shadow beasts getting near the boat. Because we don't know how these beasts worked. It was if they travelled shadow to shadow, or all shadows in this area was corrupted. But this was an effort they did to try and prevent any more deaths. But they had an issue. There was a rolling mist coming in from the highlands, and there was a fog coming in from the sea, and the town was plunged into mist. The mist creating deeper and larger shadows before. This was an issue, as the shadows collected at one spot, all forming and colliding into a colossal beast. It looked nothing short of an eldritch horror. There was tentacles and appendages made out of pure shadows and darkness. It advanced on the group, slowly coming from one side of the town to the other after them. They could hear screams of anguish and pain as the shadow beast went through buildings, killing anything in its way. They knew they could not fight this, so they ran. And they did. They all made some successful athletics checks. But Keelan started to fail them, and slowly got left behind. And this is where Keelan's love affair for Vanadar started to begin. She already started to admire Vanadar in her feats of strength. But when Vanadar came back, even though she was almost at the boat and picked up Keelan, make sure she survived, this is where the love started to begin. Keelan was hoisted off the ground in a bridle position as Vanadar full-on sprinted back to the boat. Even though Vanadar was making faster pace than Keelan was, she already lost all the ground she gained for going back for her. And the monster was still gaining on them. Fortunately, archers from the town's guard was firing arrows but set a light at the beast. Valfor turned around and was firing basic fire spells in that direction, trying to slow the monster down. It was not much, but it's all they needed. They only needed a second action time on the boat. And Vanadar got there. Just. She felt the licks of darkness and shadows on her back, but she managed to get to the braziers safely. From there, they managed to get onto the boat. Who could get on the boat, now on the boat. The remaining civilians knocked over the blazes, set fire to the shore and the dock, giving them more chance to get away. With the sails up and people rowing, they was out there. Penom screamed, "What the fuck was that?" And we all want to know what that was. They never faced anything close to that before. They've all faced our goblin or orc, but no one's ever faced walking and moving shadows before. The whole town talked about it. Banjo, they pulled out his banjo and his pet snake, Blind Adder, and played some melodies to calm down the mood. People was jolly again. They were finally getting out of here, and they sailed west to Inverness. The party all knowing well that was where the Crest Lords lied. And if anyone knew anything about beating Zolgafax, it was them. Night passed, and they came into view of the city. It was magnificent. It was a fortress of stone and steel. It was referred to by some of the locals Lapiding Gigas. But those who referred to it as that were just nerds. It was mostly referred to as the Stone Fortress. With the boat now coming to dock at the port, they had to explain the story. But that's for next time, in part 4. I hope people enjoyed this. I sure did. Well, of course I enjoyed jamming it. But if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment. If you haven't already subscribed, hit the bell, you'll get notified on when I release new videos. If you don't like the video, leave a comment and tell me why you didn't like it. If you hated it, put the hate below as well. It helps these algorithms and helps pop my videos a bit higher on the search results. As always, it's been Warlord Gandhi. Hope your game sessions are long and your crits are plenty.